Still saying preparing.
We lost Zeta.
I'll be back, guys.
It's saying live on our end. Well, my end.
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
That it is.
Yes, it is.
Where is Zeta?
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Do a countdown. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That would be cool if it came up Zeta now. Well, but I have to keep counting until it happens.
There she is.
Hey.
Hold on, guys. Sorry. I'm back. And we are live.
Yes.
What's up, loves?
Are you listening?
Hey.
Oh.
Hi.
Welcome to Cocktail Hour. I think Anissa, you finally gave us that name like permanently, because everyone has been saying like, yo, your live should be called Cocktail Hour. And then today when you were doing some of your promo and you were like, yo, meet us for Cocktail Hour, I was like, yo, it's sold. It's like destiny.
Yay.
Everybody, welcome Anissa to Mama's Cocktail Hour.
Hey, everybody.
We are so excited to have you, girl.
Thank you. I really feel honored to be here. Seriously, you girls are all dope women. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you.
And for everybody that's just watching who doesn't know what Mama's Cocktail Hour is, then what are you waiting for? Hit the notification button so you can be alerted when there's a next video. Subscribe. Anissa, throw your information out so that they know.
My YouTube channel is Anissa's Artistry Asylum. It's a makeup channel, vlog, kind of mix of all my stuff. And I also have a fitness Instagram, which is called Anissa Be Strong. Kind of put on all my like positive affirmations, going through my transformation, my body. Just, feeling myself, trying to put.
We're gonna get into that. But we're not gonna give everybody it too soon. So for everybody who doesn't know, I am Zeta Lisa. Go ahead, ladies.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Louisa.
Hi, I'm Nancy G.
And we have, go ahead, Anissa, bring it home.
Anissa.
Hey, welcome everyone. So today we're going to be discussing body image, confidence, all things women empowerment, self-love. Oh my God, everything that you can think of that has to do with positivity when it comes to your body and yourself. Jasmine, you started it off this week. So I think you need to let everybody know why we're on this journey in the first place.
Well, we've been on this journey for a while, but why we are talking about it is because the girls at Mama's Cocktail Hour had the opportunity to take some pretty photos on Saturday. It was kind of in celebration for our upcoming season 2. So make sure that you be on the lookout for that. And some little demons started coming up in regards to how we were feeling about our bodies. But it seems that mine was the most prevalent that day. And I was having a really hard time with how I felt I looked, just being in that whole situation. And something that should have been really fun for me was very difficult, to the point that I damn near had a panic attack. And it wasn't a very enjoyable experience. However, it did show me that my girls have my back. It made me take a step back and start to realize that I need to work on certain issues. And we started this conversation that we've been having all week in various forms on our social media platforms. And that's how women really feel sometimes about their bodies, how they view themselves, how that can impact them negatively, but also what we can do to make ourselves feel better. And so that's where we're at.
That's dope. I'm telling you, I was just telling Jazz earlier, and I know Nancy and I have spoken about it. Like, insecurities can really block your blessings.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%. And so we have our guest here who has dealt with so many things when it comes to body imaging. If you guys haven't checked her out on her YouTube, on her Instagram, she is super vulnerable, super honest about what she's been going through with the transformation of her body. And that's why we wouldn't want to have another person on here. We couldn't talk body image if it wasn't that we were going to bring Anissa on. So
that's
Anissa,
right.
thank you for coming on again. And we're so blessed to have you here. So I just want to jump right in. Who is Anissa? What have you struggled with? And why do you think you've done the things that you've done with your body now, presently?
Who am I? I struggle with the definition of only calling myself a mom for so long, but I'm Anissa. I'm me first, and I'm an artist, and I'm a person who gives out a lot of love and encouragement. And I think for a long time, dealing with certain relationships put me in a standstill in a corner to forget who I am. And today, that's who I am. I'm an artist, and what I struggled with was my body. You know me, Z, for a long time. I've fluctuated from big to small to medium. And don't get me wrong, I felt beautiful when I was big until I was kept captive in a situation where I felt ugly because of the thoughts in my, the thoughts that were being projected out towards me.
Right.
And just thinking that was the right way, and accepting all that negativity. And what I learned as I started to grow as a person is that in order for me to be a better me, a version of who I am, I need to start lifting myself up. And the way that really started for me, honestly, I really believe that, my parents always kind of put stuff in my head, be who you want to be. Don't ever be apologetic. Don't, you're beautiful.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. Wasn't, my childhood wasn't the best, but what I can say is both my parents did that for me, and I appreciate that because that was installed in me, and it was kind of washed away. And then I think, honestly, for me, once I met who I am today and a few years ago, and started to build my own confidence and tell myself in the mirror, you know what? You are a bad woman. I was gonna say, bitch, but you are a bad woman. I don't know.
Yeah, you could curse.
But yeah, I had to look at myself in the mirror and honestly be like, I deserve to feel good, and no one else is gonna talk me up besides for myself.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because we're the only people that can look in the mirror, and we live with ourselves every day. And who else better than to compliment ourselves, but then ourselves, So, I decided, you asked me, what was the other question? I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure it
out. And so what made you kind of get to where you are today with body image?
I struggled when I had my daughter. My father had passed away a few months before I had my daughter. It was an accident and he passed away. And I was struggling with who I was as a person because I lost a really large connection of who I am,
right.
When I and that voice that constantly told me you're a warrior was gone. And I was feeling lost, and I struggled with grief. I struggled with postpartum depression, and I started to I gained a lot of weight, with my daughter, and then I could not take it off. Like, it was very hard for me to take it off. Until one day I saw a picture of myself, and I told my husband, like, oh my God, how'd you let me get this way? Like, and he's like, honey, you're beautiful. And that's one thing, like, my husband has, big or small, has put me on a pedestal. I've never felt like I was ugly, like, no matter how huge I was or anything like that. So, you know, and I had a goal. I told my husband, like, a while back, like, when we first met, I was like, I want to get my body done, but we're gonna have to have some kids first.
Right.
I want to get my body done before I'm 35. So once we kind of went through, like, you know, consultations and kind of did some of that stuff, I set a goal for myself, and I was like, I need to lose at least 40 to 50 pounds before my surgeries. And there was nothing that the doctor said. And I just kind of went on this health journey of working out, watching what I eat. I take supplements, and just, you know, being more in love with myself, because that's something I think I struggled with since I was a kid. I never really loved myself, I don't think, because I wouldn't have allowed a lot of things to happen in my life.
Right.
If I loved myself.
That's deep. Hold on, girl. We gotta drop several bombs for that. We gotta
That's true.
all in.
She's right.
So I just want to highlight some of the things that you said. So first off, ladies, if you guys are watching this, or gentlemen, if you guys are watching this, when you have a significant other who praises you when you at your biggest and loves you when you at your smallest, that's an individual that you need to keep around, because that type of energy is going to keep you positive, keep you in a good place. And I think that's amazing.
Let's be real. Don't you get mad at them? Don't you get mad at them though? When you're like beating yourself up and they're like, you're still beautiful regardless. And you just be like,
what?
You only saying that.
Yeah, you only saying that. And they be like, no, babe, you know, and I'm like, you're supposed to say that. But yes, appreciate it.
I think that's dope. I think it's dope when you have a man that's like, yo, I think my husband even likes when I was bigger. He's like, oh, I love when you were pregnant. I'm like, really? Like, I couldn't move. I had to roll off the bed. Yo, you know, when you was like in your last trimester and you so big that there's no more like
there's no movement, like you waddling.
You can't get up, so it's like you're doing one of these to get off the bed. Like, you like that? Wow.
That's so real.
I'm telling you. But Anissa, so first off, let me tell you, and I want to get personal real quick, because I also feel like and I talk to my husband about this a lot. I feel like the era we grew up in, boys, the environment we grew up in was never like, I don't think we had a lot of great female figures around us. I mean, as like mentors or people that you know, separately from our mothers, our sisters, there weren't a lot of great female role models. I mean, you would see that in the schools. But I feel like a lot of the teachers in the inner schools, especially I went to Catholic school, were women in their, white women in their 70s and 80s. Yeah. So 60s, 70s, 80s, old nuns, like how can I really relate? Or what can they relate to what a Latina or a Black or white woman would be encountering, or a white little girl would be encountering in the inner city? Right. I struggled myself with so many things. I hated my height. It was something that because everybody that I liked was shorter than me. And so real. Yo, it's so true.
Yeah, that's a struggle.
I was the tallest in my class too.
It was like I was the tallest girl. I think I was the tallest girl and boy in the class.
I always thought that I was not feminine. Like I wasn't feminine enough because I was always taller and like lanky. So I always felt awkward, you know, like I would see the girls and they were all little and petite, you know, and short, and I'm here all like big with big hands and feet. So I always felt like I lacked femininity.
Yes. Yeah. I can relate to that. And also, don't even try to have a big girl wear some heels, because now you a fucking tall tree. And now all the boys ain't definitely looking at you, because you walking in, and you know, because when you tall, your equilibrium's off. So
So now you're walking a little funny.
So now there's a little.
Zeta, you know what, Zeta? They just weren't brave enough to climb your tree. That's all.
That's right, bro.
That's right.
Yo, I'm telling you. So we grew up in a world where I feel like people around us were harsh. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about, like, I don't know if you experienced it, but I know the men or boys around my neighborhood and my environment were one of the reasons that I kind of felt, and I know this is stupid, like saying this, but why so many insecurities started to happen, because
Yes.
at first I didn't even, like, as a girl, you didn't even notice certain things, right?
Yeah.
I feel like
Yep.
growing up, you went from like being a little girl to all of a sudden guys looking at your butt.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
like, what? Like, oh, either her ass is fat or it's not fat enough. And you're like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah.
And instantly the insecurities start, because and that it's not just men too, because you know what, Anissa, I've experienced this with girls too. Tell me, and guys, we're gonna be real here. We're gonna be real. I'm not gonna mention names, but
Right.
I just want to know if you felt the same thing that I do. Guys, just for perspective, grew up in Manhattan, Hell's Kitchen, the inner city area. I think it's funny because when you say you live in Hell's Kitchen, people think you're rich.
He was poor. We was just trying to live, guys.
But I think it's interesting to see the perspective, because we grew up in the same neighborhood, but we had different cliques, if that makes sense.
For sure.
Mhm.
For sure. That's real.
And I think that had a lot to do with where we went to school, right?
Yeah. it
Because
did.
you went to public school, I went to Catholic school, so
Right
naturally
across the-
I hung.
Right across
Huh?
the- we were right across the street from each other.
Let me tell you, I saw you guys playing in your playground, and it was so big, and they had a basketball court, and I was jealous every day like this. Mommy, please, can I go to that school? No, you're going to a good school. I'm like, I thought public schools are good schools too, you know?
Bad school, Zeta.
But no, jokes aside, I'm interested to know, like, your perspective. What did you encounter growing up with females?
So I was part of an acting program for a large part of my youth, and I remember when I tried out for like ballet and yoga. It was very discouraging because I was the bigger girl and I did not have coordination, or I didn't get chosen for that part. So those were like a lot of my issues. You know, honestly, in school though, like as far as like the group of girls that I hung out with, unless it was something that was happening behind my back, nobody really, as far as the girls, no one really put me down in front of my face.
So it wasn't a situation like you were bullied.
I wasn't bullied by the girls. I was more bullied by like some of the boys. And
Yep.
as I got older, like the younger men than I was by the girls. Like no one really bullied me about my weight or anything. I had strong cliques, and I was on a basketball team, and I had like friends. So I was always like a chunky girl who was like athletic, kind of I always had a bunch of friends. But yeah, like no one really got to me. It was more of my own insecurities in myself, like when I didn't get like a part for acting, and like when I couldn't, I felt funny doing like down dog and stuff like that. I never liked yoga at all because of that reason. Like I was like, I can't do yoga. I'm just this fat girl, and like everyone's gonna look at my butt, and like, you know, like
I see.
I'm not gonna look graceful.
Insecurities of
Right.
getting the part because you felt some type of way about your body or your look.
Right. Yeah.
Do you remember like what was your first, like when you were a kid or when you were younger, what was the first situation or incident where you felt someone made you feel insecure about something that you didn't even think about before? Like, was there ever a situation when you were in school, high school, junior high school?
When I got a little bit older, like I was entering high school, a lot of the guys around the neighborhood used to bother me about my arms. I always had a lot more, like my arms always were kind of more on the chunky side. I always
Wait,
kind of,
hold on. I gotta elaborate on this. Like, the guys in the neighborhood had something to say about your arms specifically.
About my arms.
Why?
Yeah.
That's just the most randomest shit. And for me, like, I gotta put that in perspective, because I think about, and that's why I wanted to touch on this, because I felt those same insecurities from older men in our neighborhood, or young older men. And we know the people we're talking about, like, right here.
Yes, yeah.
But,
and they know too.
and the craziest part about this subject is think about it, because I think men deal with insecurities too, right? Definitely, 100%. All my men in the comments, please shout out. You guys deal with insecurities too. It's just not as blatant. But so they're outpouring their insecurities that they have on themselves on you, because there was so many men that I can think of the names that had obesity issues.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, like, how are, it's interesting to see why they would do that, and why they would specifically say something like that, because now looking back at it as like a 34-year-old woman, I'm really starting to question what their relationship with their mother was, what their relationship with a significant other is even currently, because if you're bold enough to tell another woman, like, yo, your arms look crazy, like, I want to know what's going on with you, because that has a lot of self-esteem written all over.
Sure.
Right? Even what was being told to them by their significant other.
Right.
Or their mother, or
Was that ever, before they started bringing that to your attention in a negative way, was that even an issue for you before? Like, was it something that was on your radar when you looked at yourself? Because we're a teenager, we like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. Was that even something you thought about?
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, it was constant. It was always reminded. And the craziest thing is they weren't as big as they were as I got older and gained weight, lost weight, gained weight, lost weight. So it was crazy, because, or the other one was like, oh, damn, Anissa, you got such a beautiful face. And that was it. And it was like, damn, or you look like, like out of the crew, you look like the bodyguard, like, and it's like, damn.
Yo, but no, this is real talk. Anissa, thank you for being real here on Mama's Cocktail Hour. For everybody jumping in, we are talking body image, insecurities, self-love, confidence, and we're basically talking about our experiences for everybody jumping on. But yo, I cannot believe that this is the type of stuff that was being said to you. I myself struggled. I struggled with my height, definitely, but I can relate to Jasmine, where the feminine, I can't even say that word, and I'm not gonna try because I've been having an amaretto.
I gotta sound it out. Femininity.
That I struggled with that, because I feel like I wasn't girly enough for the girly girls, and then I wasn't I couldn't fit in. And like you say, you play basketball. Yo, I forgot you played basketball. Because like I said, like my circle was completely different. But yes, you played sports too. It's like I felt like that was the only place that I could be myself.
Yep.
What's funny, Zayda, like with the femininity too, like, okay, I didn't have a weight issue. I had the height issue, but I also had an issue. Y'all gonna laugh. Well, I was very hairy.
Oh my goodness.
Right. Oh, me too. Yes.
So I had the one eyebrow.
Oh, the caterpillar.
I had the mustache. I had a whole stash. That it was like, you know what? Now that I think about it, those boys in high school were probably jealous because mine was more. It came in more than theirs, and but so I got picked on a lot for that. Like the boys were ruthless. Like My mom was like, "You're too young to do anything about it," so she let me walk out there
The
crazy.
hairy leg.
Hairy legs. She didn't let me shave my legs. I had
Oh my God. Wait,
So
how old
every-
were you though? How
Yo.
old? Let's put this in perspective. How old?
when it really started bothering me is when I went into junior high school. By the time I was in 7th grade, I'm like, what, 12, 8th grade, 13.
Yes.
And my mom still wasn't letting me shave my legs. I actually had to do it on my own, not really knowing how to do it. And I burned myself because I did it dry. And that's how I finally
Ooh.
started letting me
No.
shaving my legs. And it was bad because I'm, you Puerto Rican, very, we hairy.
Yes.
We hairy, girl.
I went to Catholic school and we had the knee highs.
Yo,
Way up.
it was bad. Boys were ruthless because
Bad.
it's like I didn't know how to deal with my curly hair. So that was already a disaster. I had one eyebrow. I had no boobs. You know what I'm saying? I had a mustache. Like it was bad. And I used to cry all the time because, again, adding to the fact that I didn't feel feminine, because then you had the other girls and they had their little boobs in and they did their hair and they did their eyebrows and
They
I
were
was walking
super
around like
feminine.
this.
Yeah.
That was me.
I used to wear bangs, and when my mother used to cut my bangs, I was like, Mom, whatever you do, don't cut where they can see my eyebrows. So I used to look up in fear that she was gonna cut, and she would cut. No, they're good. But because I was looking up, and then when I would bring my eyebrows down, they would be up.
Oh my
Mom,
God,
I would
Nancy.
be so crushed, and I was like, unbelievable. Wow, wow.
Eyebrows are a thing.
Yeah.
And it's
Mustache,
crazy.
I'm
The
Puerto
stash.
Rican.
chin hairs, we all deal with it.
Everything.
I'm hairy.
Yeah.
Red. I'm Puerto Rican Dominican. It's just hairy. Unibrow central. My sons don't have a unibrow. My daughter, she rocking that unibrow.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
That's the way.
yes.
Now it's different because now you're like, okay, you'll remember how you felt and age appropriately, of course, you'll help her take care of it. But we have this joke, like if there's a zombie apocalypse, we ain't gonna look like them chicks on The Walking Dead.
Definitely not.
We have a chin beard.
Yo, the hair be crazy everywhere, guys.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Anissa, what do you
hairy, feel like the Sasquatch? I don't know.
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
Anissa, what do you think? So we know on your Instagram and all over Facebook, you've been putting up posts regarding your surgeries. Do you want to discuss what you've done or what brought you to that point and why did you do it?
Well, so the reason why I decided to do my surgeries was when back before I met my husband, I had lost a tremendous amount of weight, and no matter how much weight I lost, I would, I would look in the mirror naked and I just was not satisfied. Like my arms were larger than the normal size arms. So the extra skin was just hanging. I had extra skin on my stomach. I just wasn't happy. And that's kind of when I met my husband. I was like, hey, listen, I have a little bit of like extra skin. And he's like, I don't care, and
Wow. Was it hard for you to have that conversation with him?
It was because I'm like, I had a child at a very young age. So I had like stretch marks and extra skin and all that stuff. And the muscles in my stomach weren't the same. And
right.
So I was like, damn, I kind of hate the fact that this man who's treating me right for once in my life is gonna be, I'm gonna give him this, I felt that way at that point in my life.
Yeah.
But, once I told him how I felt, I don't know. He always mentions this to me. He goes, you might have said that, but when the time came to it, you were butt ass naked and you were comfortable with yourself. Like you never felt uncomfortable. You didn't put a shirt on. But, in the back of my head, I always had because I was just beginning to work on my self-confidence, I was just learning how to love myself after a very long relationship of garbage. So I was reinventing myself of who I am and how I should be treated and how I want to be accepted, and how I will only allow someone to treat me from here on out. You know what I mean?
Preach. That's such a good,
Way.
yes,
only way.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then I had my, 14 years after my son, my first son, I had my second son, and then I had my daughter a year and a half ago. And it was just like, I just was not happy with what was going on. Like, I was like, this is not going to change no matter how much weight I lost. Like, I want to look in the mirror and all the hard work that I put in, I want to see results. You know what I mean? I don't promote surgery. I feel like if you can lose the weight and you can tighten up and you feel comfortable, or if you want to live with your loose skin, that is all on you. That's your journey. I never put anyone down. For me, I just wanted to actually see the work that I've put in. And with that being said, I did a 360 where the surgeon basically removed the skin from the front of my stomach all the way to the back of my stomach. So I have an incision that goes completely around. And he did muscle repair because he said, no matter what you do, there is no way that you will ever repair your muscles inside because you have back-to-back pregnancies. Between my daughter and my son, I actually had another pregnancy and I had a miscarriage, and the baby was decent. It was a decent term, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. And then right after that, my dad died, and it was just like, oh my God, please.
Right.
I need a break. I just need some breaks. But I did that, and he did the 360 tummy tuck, muscle repair. And then that was like 19 weeks ago. And then 5 weeks ago, I got my arms done because I really was actually just going in there for my arms. Cause I was like, my arms, like the amount of bullying that was done to me really affected me throughout from being a teenager to being an adult, that was like, I never ever wore like, I always wore jackets, and I'm still getting used to, like, sometimes I still put a jacket on because I'm like, I don't know, like, is this the normal size arm now? But I'm like, fuck yes, it is, because I worked hard, and even though I had surgery, I'm ready. I can't wait to see the progress now and what I got. What like all the skin is off. He took off, I think, about 1.5 liters on each arm, 23 pounds. He said you had 23 pounds of skin around your body, just skin.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. So
that's crazy. So you're 5 weeks post-op now?
Of my arms and 19 weeks of my stomach.
So how are you feeling? What are some of the things that you can let our viewers know that you didn't know you were going to encounter and you encountered, so that they know if you guys are considering any type of surgeries or trying to improve, whatever floats your boat.
Right.
What can you say that you experienced that you didn't know was going to happen?
I guess for me, the main thing was, it was all mental when it came to my stomach. I didn't feel for 3 days, I felt a little bit of pain. And then as I started moving around, you feel pain and stiffness. But honestly, like, my arms were more painful to me.
Really?
Because you're moving.
Yeah, because you're moving, you constantly have to move your arms around. Like, I had to, I was literally in a recliner when I did my stomach. And, my husband was such a great help. Like, he didn't let me do nothing. Even with my arms, like, he took 100% care of me. Like, for everything. Like, mama
had your feet up. You were relaxing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Me with everything the whole time. And
so wait, he
took care of you.
He wiped you.
Yes.
That's a real love. That's love.
Yeah. I was like,
he took care of you. That's love.
That's love.
Shout out to your husband.
Yes.
You fell in love a little bit more, right?
I did. And I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to pay him back one of these days. Oh, man. There was one moment where I was like, oh babe, I'm sorry. Like, and he's like, don't be sorry. He's like, this is all mine anyways. I'm just helping you out here, like, wow. For me too.
He's maintaining things, you know. He's just
He's maintaining the area, making
Yes.
sure it's sterile,
Yeah,
clean.
he's just taking care of
Yeah.
everything, you know?
he you know.
That's
That's
such a
dope.
dope husband.
I think
Was he nervous for you? Did he have any reservations when you wanted to do it? I know you mentioned that you said he was okay with who you were prior to, but how did he feel about surgery? Because I know a lot of men, like I myself had weight loss surgery a couple of years back. And for my husband, it was like, yo, you don't need to do that. But I needed to do it for me.
right.
After I had Zoe, I was the biggest I've ever been. And I just couldn't lose the weight as quickly as I've done in the past. So that's why I made that decision. But my husband was supportive, but at first he was like, I don't think you need to do that. Did you experience that?
No, because from the jump, I told him, like, I was like, I'm gonna have surgery. By the time I'm 35, my body is gonna look right. That was something I said to him, like, maybe on maybe our 5th date. Like, I was like, I'm gonna be getting surgery, so we're gonna have to have babies. Like, I was like, when I turned 30, I was like, hurry up, because we have no more babies, you know, like, let's make it happen. And then I got pregnant with my son when I turned 30, and then I was like, I want one more, and I really want a girl. And he never, you know, was like, oh no, you don't have to do it. I mean, he said you don't have to do it, but he wasn't like discouraging or like, because there's some men that will be like, oh, why you want to do that? You want to leave me? Like, insecurities.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, I've dealt with that before, but with my husband, no. He had no problem with me having surgery. In fact, when I did my stomach, we were gonna wait for my arms because, you know, I was having mental breakdowns. That was my only thing, is like, from that's what one thing I was gonna say is, like, from having surgery, your mind, I don't like taking pain meds. I'm afraid that I might be addicted, you know, I might become addictive. I have, you know, you know, there's family members that struggle from addiction in my family, and I don't want to become that. And I don't know if that pill might just set it off, where all of a sudden, you know, I'm, you know, repeating history and stuff. So when I had stopped taking my meds, that was the biggest struggle for me. And my husband was worried that it was putting me down a dark path. So he was like, maybe we should take a break on the arms. But once I started to like work out, do yoga, I started to become myself again. I said, honey, I really got to do my arms, because that was the whole reason for the surgery. And he was like, let's do it. And I was like, for real? Like, let's do it. Like, and I was like, yes, because that was like, that's my biggest thing, is my arms. I'm very sensitive about my arms, like, still, you know, and I'm learning how to like be like F off with my arms because of that.
If you had to say one thing to the haters right now, what would you say? Because you didn't elevate it. Woo!
That's it. That's it.
Just amplify it. Just say it again.
Look at me now.
Presents. That's it.
That's it.
And I want to highlight that we definitely got to shout out the haters, because they're always lurking. They don't support, but they lurk, and that's fine.
For sure.
For sure. All the time. I want to just highlight that you did this because of you, not because of anybody else.
Not because of anyone else. This was all for me, because I wanted to make Anissa happy. It was my turn. It's my chance. It's my turn. This is my life. When you lose people, you start to learn that you need to live for yourself. And that's, you know, I lost 2 people in my life that meant the world, who lifted me up, and they're no longer here. And I have to do what I have to do for myself to make myself happy. And that's it.
Yep.
You mentioned that you were scared of addiction because there's addiction in your family. I could relate to that, because I have a father who has substance abuse issues. Right. And you also said you had, like, you know, little mental breakdowns. Is mental health something that you've dealt with, like, did you know, like depression or anxiety beforehand?
Yeah, I had realized that I started getting a lot of depression. Well, I suffered from, let me just bring it back, rewind. as a child, my childhood was not the best childhood. I never blame my parents because I feel like parenting, you cannot be perfect as a parent. There's no such thing as being a perfect parent. My parents tried their best as they could, and however that was, I can't judge them. I will not judge them. But I didn't learn how to. When I was a kid, if I fell, I kind of had to pick myself up. I never learned the techniques of actually being, putting a Band-Aid on my knee, you're gonna be okay. Those types of, lift up conversations didn't happen. I kind of had to always do for myself. And because of that, I had an issue with learning how to pick myself up as a kid, as an adult. And so I didn't know I was struggling from depression, but there was self-harm to myself growing up, all those things started to occur. And there is mental health in my family. It goes deep, like great grandma, and it goes really deep down the line of family members. And when my aunt passed away, she was the first person that passed away that meant the world to me. And I went into a very deep depression for literally 3 years.
Wow.
And then when my father passed away, I could feel that start to happen again, and I could feel the deepness and the darkness come in, and it was really hard for me. But he kind of, after she had passed away, he was the voice in my head that used to always tell me, you got to look at what's in front of you, Anissa. You are stronger than you think, And then when he passed away, it was almost like he left this installed in my head, and I couldn't be upset because he used to say, how am I supposed to rest if I know you're upset? How am I going to rest? And so, on my bad days, if I start to feel a little depressed and stuff, but I did struggle with postpartum depression with my daughter, after my daughter. And it wasn't that postpartum depression, I wanted to hurt my daughter. I didn't want anyone around my daughter.
Right.
It was yours. Yeah.
Yeah, she's I named her after me. You know what I mean? She was just my precious.
Yeah, don't touch her. Don't be around her. Don't breathe the same air.
So it was more anxiety. This is mine. She means everything to me. Stay away.
Yeah, and I was my daddy sent
very,
her from
very protective of her.
all spiritual and I know this is the sign, all those weird things that happen. And
we Puerto Rican, so everything is a sign for us.
Yeah,
how Hispanic culture is. Anything is a sign. It could be a freaking bird flying by. Yo, that's a sign.
In my hair, that's a sign.
Yeah.
That's good luck, girl. What you talking about?
Yes. So but with the medicine, I just didn't want to. The medicine was making me feel. When I didn't take the medicine, I was starting to feel depressed, and I was oh, I see you, little addict in there. Something's going on. I felt why am I feeling?
So wait, but let's jump back. What medicine? The medicine that you were taking for your surgery, or you?
Yeah, medicine that my surgery. The doctor prescribed me Percocet or Oxycontin.
Yeah, Percocet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's next level shit.
Yeah, so I was and I told my husband after day 3 they said day 3 would be the worst day after your tummy tuck, and day 3 I was I don't want to take it anymore, and he's no, you have to take it. And I started to kind of freak out because I wasn't taking it, and he's you have to listen. You're not going to become you're not going to be a drug addict. I'm not going to let that happen. You're going to be okay, So I did it for about maybe 5 days, and then I was I can't take it. I can't, I just don't want to. I don't want to be a drug addict. So I couldn't, everybody's different. I just need my tolerance. And I felt like a zombie the whole time. I was
yeah.
I think it's important that you, in that moment, you knew that your mind was stronger, and you just kept on that you didn't want it. So immediately in that moment, you were fighting with yourself. So you were just stronger,
Yeah, for sure.
I think too is when you go through a lot of things and you get to a good place, consistently for a while, you're very protective of that.
Yes.
So you once you start to feel a little inkling of the way you used to feel before, or going back, you get real like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Yes.
I don't want to go,
Like a
because
warning
like
sign.
when you see the difference between how you were living before and how you're living now, it's like you can't even imagine how you went through all that shit. Like it's so I could relate to you in that way, because I also have like little things that go off in my head and I'll be like, no, 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 no. I gotta do something, because I would never want to go back down that path.
Right. Same.
I'll talk to you about it. I'll tell you about it. I wanna, women empowerment and look, but I
Yes.
never want to feel that. It's so dark.
It is. It is.
You know the signs. You know your triggers, you know your signs, it's like you know the alerts, you know your warnings.
Yep.
You want to stay away from that.
Yep.
But that's what also sets us apart, because we know how it feels to be at that end of the spectrum. We know how it feels to be lost and broken. So it also, that's like also your superpower, because you're connected in a way with other people, or can observe and see signs in other people that might get lost in the sauce, I guess you could say. But I think it's dope that you're out there saying that, you were struggling with that, because a lot of people are scared to say that, because we still have that stigma, like, oh, she's crazy, la
Yeah.
loquita.
Yeah. Yes. That's so real.
And Anissa, I know that you have been such an advocate for, body image, just being so vulnerable with everything that you've been posting on the gram, on Facebook about your journey. And I think so many women, you're empowering so many women, because like I was saying earlier, like for you to come out and do that and put that on the forefront.
Yeah.
Everybody knows when you're not feeling good, when you either I remember when I had my baby, or when I had my surgery, I was like, it's a feeling of overwhelm and you're vulnerable.
Mhm.
So for you to capture those pictures, even when you were at your most vulnerable, is what I think is dope, first and foremost. And I know that you have also struggled with, like, you're a domestic violence survivor.
Yes. Yes. I'm a warrior. I'm not a survivor. I'm a warrior.
I love that. Yes. So
Yeah.
do you think that also dealing with your domestic violence aided in your insecurities?
For sure. For sure. It kept me in such a standstill. I was so like, I was just in one corner all the time. And, it took a lot for me it took my aunt's passing to remove myself from that situation. Cause a few days before she actually died, she used to call me Nunu. And I had found out that she was being abused, and she's never been abused. She's always been a strong woman. And I remember finding out that she was being abused, and she threw it in my face. She said, Nunu, what about you? You think I don't know about that broken arm? You think I don't know how that happened? Because I had to have reconstructive surgery on my right arm, because my bones were broken. And she threw it in my face. She threw it in my face, and then she died maybe 5 days later. And how she passed away, it wasn't related, but I don't think her mind was clear anymore. And I think that she was struggling from domestic violence, and she felt alone. And I knew that feeling, and I did not want to be a part of that feeling anymore.
How long were you in that relationship?
10 years.
And so you knew it was wrong. You knew it wasn't right. What were some of why were you rationalizing?
I wanted my son to know what it was like to have a normal family. That was number one, because I didn't have a mother and a father. And I mean, that wasn't a biological blood, but I wanted him to have some of that. The other thing is I felt like I wasn't good enough, because a previous relationship kept telling me that I was stupid and I was going to have a baby and I was going to look dumb and everybody's going to talk about me, and I was never going to be worth anything, and I was always going to be worthless, because of the fact that I decided to have a baby at a young.
You had your child at, how old were you when you had Zeke?
I was pregnant at 15 and I had him at 16.
Oh, my mom had me at 15.
Yeah, and I mean, the cool thing is my grandma was super supportive because my grandma came in like when I was around 9 or 10, and she came in and she raised me and my siblings. And one of the coolest things that she said to me, you know, she was very, you know, of course she was disappointed because she expected more from me since I was the oldest and I dealt with the most crap. But she was very supportive. Like, she was like, you have to go to school. You have to find a job. I'm going to watch your kid. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
You know, and
shout out to your grandma for being adult mama.
He is awesome, Grammy. But yeah, you know, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I graduated high school. I graduated college. I didn't use my degree, but I did all those things for myself and something that I needed to do for my child. And, you know, I just wanted to, I thought it was smart to stay in that stupid relationship, but it was dumb. It was actually stupid. And sometimes it takes something like my aunt passing away for me to like completely walk away. Like after that, I was like, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die. I'm happy. Like that's not die. You know what I mean? So that was like my motivation to get out of it.
How many times were you motivated before your aunt passed away to leave and you didn't leave?
I was never, well, I wasn't motivated, but I was scheming on how to get away. But I was always being threatened that either I was going to get killed or like something physically was going to happen to me. My family was going to get hurt or they were going to hurt themselves. And I didn't want that on my conscience, you know, like.
So wait, so he was saying that he was going to kill himself if you left?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So, my grandfather, Dr. Phil, he be saying that's what they use. That's all manipulation tactics.
Yeah.
Well, and I was manipulation. He was older. So
how much older, if you don't mind me asking?
Maybe 7 years. So he was a grown man. He had no business with me at all.
You know what's so funny is, remember when we was kids and there was like the older 19, 20-year-olds picking up girls from junior high school?
Yes.
And that was normalized back then?
Yep.
Yeah.
And now if we see that guy is a pedophile.
Yep.
But imagine how many dudes, drug dealers, I know y'all out there, I know y'all hear that. Y'all was picking up 12, 13, 14-year-old girls from junior high school.
In the car.
In their car. Like, you know what's so funny is that my husband used to be like, yo, there's no competing against that. Like, I didn't have a car. You know, and not to say that I was picked up, because I'm gonna let y'all know I have 4 brothers. So that was one thing that I felt like saved me in my neighborhood, was that people would be like, yo, don't fuck with her because her brother.
Yeah, that's real.
And my brother was a bully and I'm not proud of it.
Big time.
But no, I think it's interesting to say, like, so you said no times, or?
I mean, I wasn't motivated. I was just trying to escape, I guess. And it never worked. But for some reason that just like, it was like, I got this like power to get away. Like,
were you guys living together or?
Yeah.
So that's why you can't.
I had no choice. Every day. A bit of a leech. So I had no choice. Like, yeah, he just kind of fed off of me and it was just a lot of that stuff. So I had no choice. It was like, I couldn't get away and just finally I got away and I felt that was when the weight started peeling off of me. I swear. I was like, damn, that's all I needed this whole time.
All you had to do was let go of that bad baggage and you was able to move forward.
Exactly.
The crazy thing is that when you're in a relationship,
let it go.
Yeah, that's true. When you're in a relationship like that, you're so in it and in it and in it and in it, and it feels like it's never ending. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's just like someone's turned the light on, and you're like, oh wait. And it's not to say that it's still not hard and you still don't go through it, but it's like all of a sudden your vision is clear. And you'll
Yep.
be like, why am I putting up with this? Why am I doing it? I swear it's like a mental thing, and you having just to be ready. It has to be just be the right time for you
Yep.
to be able to get up and go. So shout
And
out
when-
to you.
Oh, you know, I would get the phone call like, I'm gonna kill myself, I'm gonna kill myself. And I would be like, dude, don't call me with this. I'm trying to get my life together. Like,
How long after was he still trying to keep in contact with you? And let me ask, and if this is personal, say, hey, it's personal. What did you do to leave? Like, was it something that you was like, yo, I'm gonna wait till he's out, pack all my shit and go? Or was it like a big argument and you were like, I'm done?
it was a big argument. My grandma got involved finally because it was not, I made it where it was loud enough for her to hear this time. It was no longer quiet. It
Smart.
was always, because he was living with me. So it was no longer a quiet argument. It was more of a loud argument. It was very crazy and chaotic. And my grandma is a tough cookie. She's like 4 foot nothing, and she will whoop your ass.
That's
Yo,
it.
all Spanish
She
grandmas
had la
are
bata.
described the
She had la
same way.
bata on. She had the cape, la bata.
Yes, she had her slippers. You heard them coming. I was like, yes,
That's it.
I'm about to free.
The superhero. I tell you.
Yo, I wonder if we're gonna shrink to 4 foot nothing by the time it's time for us to be
I think
grandmas,
that's-
because yo, every woman, every Spanish woman describes their grandma the same way. It's
As
bugged out
tough.
to me.
Yeah,
And
she's
little,
super tough, super tough. She got him out. I got him out. We were able to get him out, and he was gone like garbage. And I was done with him, and I was very happy.
That's
As soon as
amazing.
he left, we just felt a lot of anxiety gone. It just felt really good.
Thank you for
If
sharing
you-
that, because I
if
think it's
you-
so hard for us to kind of talk about what we're going through with a man, because a lot of that has to do with insecurities. You're embarrassed. You know, you always want to give this perfect perception when you're in a relationship that everything is okay. And I feel like as women, we struggle a lot by ourselves. We don't want to tell our
Mhm.
friends for the fear of judgment. Or when you're going through a real hard thing with your spouse and maybe your spouse says something that hurts you, you don't want to relay that over to your
Yeah.
friends because fear of judgment. So I'm learning myself, because as you know, in a marriage, nothing is perfect.
Sure.
Is to kind of just, when I need a different perspective, to reach out to the people that I know I can trust. Because I don't think that you should be giving that information about a private relationship to everybody,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's dope that you're able to share like your vulnerability in your relationship, because I think that has a lot to do with your growth.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not embarrassed, and that whole relationship doesn't define me. You know what I mean? It has helped me grow. It has helped me be the person that I am today. I'm not embarrassed. I was a little girl. You know what I mean? I thought that was what love was. I did not know exactly my life. I've always looked for love, and I looked in the wrong places, and I looked in the wrong places a couple of times, and what I realized throughout that whole entire those relationships is that I wasn't loving myself, and that was a problem. So those relationships just, I mean, they are what they are, and they don't, they're not the person. They didn't shape me into the person I am, because I hate to say that, because I don't want to give these people credit for nothing. So, but I will say is that, because of these relationships, I just, my shell I have a hard shell on, and, inside is really squishy. And, if you know me, you know how much I love, and you know how big I love, but it's really tough here still, like my outer part, you know what I mean? I'm still learning. I'm learning, but I'm not embarrassed of myself. I didn't know what was the right way to love. I didn't know how to love, I didn't know, I tried, I was just trying to build something for my child, because I felt like I was already the statistic of having a kid in the neighborhood. Look at her. Oh, like all that crap. And these days I'm like, I don't care about what anyone says about me. My daughter,
it's so true.
And I think living
my daughter will not
allowed you
love in no type of wrong places, because she's gonna know what love is, and she's gonna be a warrior. what I'm raising, and that's it. There's no other way.
I
think
feel
that's
you
so
same
dope
way
that you
with
highlight
Haley.
that.
Yeah. I think that
It's important.
allowed you more. It allowed you, that freedom gave you the peace of mind to grow more and to allow your son the happiness that you were searching in the beginning for.
Right.
Your expectation is like, oh, I wanted to give him
Yeah.
a family. He only needed you in a relationship, you know, and that was important.
Yeah.
And
For
that
sure.
was 100%.
Yeah.
And I think as women, and tell me if you agree, because we are now, I feel like our 20s, I was struggling with identity issues, trying to figure out where I am, right? Everybody can relate. Now in your 30s or your 40s, you start to kind of feel more comfortable with who you are. And you're kind of like, fuck what you think, fuck what you say. I'm going to be who I am, either take it or leave it, you know? So I love that you so are coming, we all as women are coming into our own, because I think that this is a platform where we want to be vulnerable, we want to be authentic, and we want to be real. Like, and for anybody just jumping on, you know, we did this whole week on body image and on confidence, and Jazz started off the week with the issues that she was struggling with insecurities. And I know as women, we all kind of have our own thing. You know, Anissa, your thing may be your arms. For me, it was always my weight. My sister is always the thin girl, and I was always like my dad would be like, okay, you're fat. Like, you need to lose weight. Like, you need to. Yeah, my dad is super athletic, and he's always been fit. So he motivates in not the most healthiest way. So instead of being like, I don't know, I guess I'm still struggling whether it was done with good intent or with bad intent. I still really can't say. But he was like, you know, he was really tough about weight and image. In my house, it was like, okay, it was really a lot about image. Like, you can't look that way. Like, you need to lose weight. Like, you need to, you know, you're gonna look ugly if you don't, you know, kind of put forth the effort. So he would wake me up at 7:00 in the morning and take me to the pier to like run or ride bike, and I hated my life. I was like, no. I'm not a morning person. I was over there with all the hate in the world. But I think insecurity started in my household with my own family.
That's the weirdest thing for me. Like, I even asked my grandmother, and I even asked my mom. I was like, why didn't you guys, you know, like, why didn't you guys tell me that I was overweight? Both of their response, like, all of their response, everything I asked them was, you were a niece, so we didn't really care. Like, you were chunky, you like to eat. That wasn't a thing. Like, it wasn't like, my family never put me down about my weight. No matter how,
great.
Which was so weird, because I'm like, God, I needed some help, a little bit of help. I was like unhealthy, you know, I got unhealthy.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's different. It is different sides of the spectrum, because like I said, my father could have been trying to motivate in a way, and then him just not doing it the right way. But I don't know, because even to this day, he's still like, so how's your weight going? And you're like,
So we're past this.
Dad, I know you deal with that.
My father, I always say this, I tell this story, we're strange, but one time I ran into him on the train after not seeing him for 3 years, and the first thing that he told me on the subway, on a 4 train was, I see Jasmine, tu si ta gorda.
Oh, he got some balls.
So you know, like, I understand what it is, because they don't know no better. I mean, I that's why I'm trying to take it like is ignorance.
Right.
They don't, because, you know, back then you're not in tune with your feelings and self-esteem, and they didn't really know those terms, and
Good conversation.
So that's
probably.
Yeah, like, so actually it brings me to ask you a question. If you could, being who you are now, right? If you could talk to little Anissa and all the little Anissas that are out there, right? What would you tell them? What advice would you give them? What advice would you give 15-year-old Anissa?
To look forward, look up, never look down. Don't care what anyone says. Keep moving. Stay strong. Don't go with that guy.
Word. I didn't say the same thing. Run.
Stay away. Stand clear. You know, your Prince Charming's coming. Give it some time. You know? Because I mean, I have a little Anissa. I have a little Anissa. And
why you want her to know? Her specifically, because
don't worry about what anyone thinks of you. Because you come from a strong bloodline. And you, my friend, my girl, you are going to be something magical. She is. I know she is. All my kids are, but my daughter, she's going to be magical. Because I'm not going to let her slip. I'm not going to allow that.
And that's dope because I think we underestimate how strong of a role model we are to our daughters.
yeah.
I haven't straightened my hair in over a year because I wanted to let my daughters know that it's okay for them to be happy with their natural hair. And how can I be telling them that if I'm like straightening my hair for a live? Or, you know, my daughter, Riley, deals with a lot of insecurities, even young, because she looks totally different. Like my daughter, like she got curly hair, she got these high cheekbones. She's she's like little Sean running around.
Yes, she is.
And everyone in her school looks completely different. So she stands out. So she's dealt with so many issues with, just insecurities, and even so young, because she's 11. And I just try to really just practice what I preach. And I try to do that. I want her to see that, being you, however you feel comfortable, because if you feel comfortable with makeup on or makeup off, because we know you're a makeup guru.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know and you haven't checked it out, Anissa, plug in your Instagram where you do all your beautiful makeup, because it's just amazing.
Yes.
And your affirmations.
Yes, it's Anissa's Artistry Asylum. That's where I do all my makeup. I do love special effects, so I'm.
And are you self-taught or did you go to school?
So the way that started was my oldest son Zeke wanted a Freddy Krueger Halloween costume one year, and when little kids, the outfits suck. Like
they do suck.
So I took like those old photo albums, like the papers with the plastic. So I got latex and I just started making like shapes, and then like I latex them on his face, and I started to create this Freddy Krueger face. It was the very first thing I ever did. And after that, after I met my husband, he opened up my eyes that dreams are not something that should die. Those dreams should always live.
Yes.
I was in school for forensic science to become a detective. I wanted to be a forensic scientist, a detective, follow my father's footsteps. And when I met him, he just like changed everything, where he was like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. If you put your heart and your mind into it, you can do it. So
he's a good man.
He is.
I wanted to make it legit. So I actually went to AMA, which is in Hoboken. And I got my degree, like my certificate for 280 hours of theater, beauty. I could do it all, like pretty much. But yeah, I mean,
girl, your shit is dope. So do you have a business where you do makeup, or are you just?
I'm just doing everything on YouTube right now. My main focus right now, like my kids are little, and I want to be here this time with Zeke. I had to work in schooling, and I try to be as present as possible. And now that I have the opportunity to be present, I really want to be present for my kids. So on Friday, Saturdays, I focus on my art, and then Sunday through Thursday, I am with my children 24/7. So that's kind of what I do.
That's good.
And so we love that on Mama's Cocktail Hour, that you come here and you talk about being a dope mama. We definitely highlighted you on our page as being a dope mama because we love how you can do it all. I love how you said that we should be living out our dreams whenever, and dreams shouldn't die, because if you're a 45, 55, 65-year-old woman and you want to live out your passion, you should absolutely do so. There is no age limit on success or whatever because I think that when we're younger, we think there's a certain level of success that we need to be. Success can just be whatever it is that makes you happy.
Fulfilled.
You know, that was one of my motivations to do this, is like, yo, I want to be able to highlight women our age, have conversations that I don't feel like we would have ever had 10, 15 years ago, because so many insecurities. We were talking about competition, you know, feeling that you can't support another woman without having to put them down. And we were also highlighting earlier that a lot of times women don't understand that the reason why they're not supporting or they're not, you know, extending the olive branch or bringing someone to collaborate is because you're dealing with so many insecurities that you yourself haven't took key or noticed.
Right.
Because it doesn't take anything from you to like, to comment, to motivate another woman to be like, wow, I really like that. I couldn't, you know, just give kudos. If you're not able to do that, then you need to really self-reflect and see what it is inside of you that's not allowing you to kudos someone else or show love.
Just like it
Anissa,
doesn't.
you definitely dope for that.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I tell you something. My husband, I was like, oh, you know, I gotta get ready. It's for Mama's cocktail hour, and he's like, oh, that's your friend, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you know, I'm happy that, you know, you are, you know, supportive and stuff. And I was like, of course, like, I'm so happy if any of my, especially, you know, I give you all your props and I'm quick to, you know, applaud you. But for women on like that I grew up with, it's so important. And when I see another woman, you know, progressing in her life, I'm like ready to celebrate. That's just what I'm about, you know, like, why can't we all just be a group of empowerment, like empowered women working together to empower other women? Why can't we just do that? You know,
and then all come together to collaborate and get to where we want to be. That's my main thing. You know, it's like if you want to progress and whatever, let's work together, let's collaborate so that it doesn't have to be silent competition. It doesn't have to be this cattiness.
Synergy, baby.
What happened?
Synergy.
Yes. Yes, the synergy got to be there. The great energy. You know, and I think we get that with you. Because girl, you done came on some lives where we were like, when you were telling your story, I was like, wow. And to think like we grew up in the same neighborhood, I didn't even know, you know, the amount that you were going through. So thank you for sharing that on this platform with us today.
I felt comfortable.
That's the point.
This is not gonna be the last time you hear, girl, because we're gonna bring you back. We were talking about, guys, and let me know, hit us up in the comments what you think about a makeup class where we sip some wine, we have some cocktails, and Anissa is the one that's showing us how to do our makeup, because the struggle is real on this end.
and I don't know, but I feel like there's some Tuesdays and talks that possibly we can do because I feel like there's a lot of things that we have in common that I would love to dive deeper in with you. I think your story is something that a lot of women go through and they just don't talk about.
Yeah, I'm always down. You let me know. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere.
All right, girls. Final thoughts for Anissa. Nancy?
Well, I would like to know, you know, having everything that you've gone through, the legacy, what legacy that you hope to leave for your children in terms of legacy you're hoping to build for your children, because you're still here, girl.
Yeah. I just want them to be whoever they want to be. And I don't want them to ever question themselves. All three of them. They all have something very, very special in them, and I want them to project it out, and I want them to share it with the world, no matter how, with no regrets, and no matter what anyone says. That's it.
Beautiful.
Awesome. And Anissa, so my question for you would be, for all the women that you think are still dealing with insecurities, who are maybe not aware of it or trying to kind of block it out, what would you say to those women?
I would say look in the mirror, really look at yourself, look at the struggle that you dealt with, and look how you're still here, and look how strong you are for being here, and use those scars as just, you know, stones to become stepping stones to be bigger and better, and all those things that ever made you have those insecurities in the first place.
Woo! You are giving all types of empowerment vibes here, girl.
It.
Jazz?
I would like to know, what is your definition of a modern day mama?
For me, I feel like a modern day mama is just someone who can, you know, have it all together, cry still, have it all together with all that weight on their shoulders, and continue to move forward, no matter what. No excuse.
I love
it.
that. I think
love
that's
it.
what we are. We are definitely modern day mamas.
I was like, I think we got that check.
Right?
I like the cry with all the weight, but still keep it moving, but cry.
Because I cry. I'm a crybaby. So
Oh my goodness.
I'll be lying to you if sometimes I don't cry. I cry.
You're my soul sister.
Yeah.
I think we've had a lot of conversations where tears has just came down just because of being so vulnerable and being so open and really starting to get to know somebody. And I am so happy that you were able to come on this platform today, which is Mama's Cocktail Hour.
Yes.
And talk
Thank you
all
for letting me.
things. Yes, and talk all things mama with us. You have to come back. Anissa, what are your final thoughts?
As far as just in general, or
Just in general, like
Go for it, girl.
confidence, body image. If you had to say something to let a woman know, what would it be right now?
say stay strong. Stay strong. Don't let anyone define who you are. You don't give anyone that power to define who you are. You are who you are, and that's it. Hey, Zoe.
Zoe walked by.
We know it.
As you see her try to beat in the damn shot.
We told you.
That little bouncing.
Zoe always makes her damn, she gotta be on Mama's in some fashion.
I love it.
See that little bobbing head? And he,
Oh my God. Zoe and your son are how many weeks apart? They're like,
Titan was born in August 19th. How about
Zoe
Zoe?
was September 6th.
Okay, yep. So like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Yep.
We were pregnant at the same time, I remember. Because I
Yeah.
was like, oh, did she drop? Oh, yes, thank God, I'm next.
And we were both, I remember throughout our pregnancy, I was like, I want a girl. You were like, I want a boy. Remember?
And I got the girl and you got the boy.
The boy.
Well, Zoe gives me all flavors because she's gonna be sporty because she plays sports like me. So I think I got the best of both worlds.
Yes.
Yes. All right, love. Thank you so much for joining us at Mama's Cocktail Hour. We loved having Anissa. Anissa, drop one more time for us where we can find you if they want to find you.
On my Instagram at Anissa's Artistry Asylum. I also have a fitness Instagram as well. It's Anissa Be Strong. And I'm on my Facebook page, which is also Anissa. Well, it's my actual name. And so that's my personal page. But on my Instagram and on my YouTube, Anissa's Artistry Asylum, that's where I do all my makeup, my vlogs for my surgery, and just, yeah, you can follow me there.
All right, so one last thing, because you're so dope and we definitely want to have it. Can you do a drop for us for Mama's Cocktail Hour? Tell people why they should come on Mama's Cocktail Hour or why they should watch. Go.
Okay. For me, this is a platform where you can be yourself, have a little cocktail or some water, depending on who you are. And you can just really, dig deep within yourself and find something in one of these women that you can relate to. So to me, I think it's just an awesome platform for women, men too, to come together and just empower each other and just, get deep into someone else's situation and understand where someone else is coming from.
Oh, so you guys heard it. If you haven't checked us out, check us out now. Mama's Cocktail Hour. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.
Thank you.